Hello guys, welcome back to Character Hour Season 2, Episode 2. We are going to create the upper body armor, not armor but outfit of the girl, of this medical girl we're working on, or scientific, whatever. And we're going to block out the main areas like the sleeves, the main panels on it. And the reason for it, for what we're about to do and not just finish the lower body and perhaps the boots, is that I want to have a clear visual concept before I go into the high poly itself, and second, I want to know what here I am not going to work on, right? Because as I said in the very beginning of the series, we're going to have something between a coat, lab coat, and jacket, and it will cover a lot of this area here, so I don't have to build a belt, for example, or anything like this. And to start with, we're going to do all this in ZBrush, by the way. We're not going to go into Marvelous like we did in the last episode, because I realize not every one of you have Marvelous or even have the desire to use Marvelous, so you should see how you can do the same thing in ZBrush. Admittedly, it's a little less it's a little more painful to do clothing in ZBrush than Marvelous, at least to get the basic shapes. However, we are going to do it. Now, to begin with, we are going to create, what's this? This is the eyeballs. I don't know why they're named pants, but let's rename them to eyes. Now, and I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call this folder lower. And in this lower folder, I'm going to put all the meshes that we did last week, so now I can just quickly switch them on and off, right? So like this. What is in the backups? What's this? It's super destroyed, but okay, let's keep it for now. Okay, so we're going to start by extracting the geometry from her body mesh to create the top. And there are a lot of ways you can mask and extract. You can mask and split, whatever. I'm using slicing for it, and the way I do it is I turn off line in the polyframe and I go to polyframe mode, and I'm going to double the mesh, obviously duplicate mesh. And now with the slice curve, what I can do is, for example, if I slice here, it got me pretty shitty color. Let's go something like this. That's not how I want it to be. There we go. Let's get a different color. There we go. So now I have this thing here, right? The slicing is not symmetrical, so you will have to mirror and weld it. But first, let's get the waistline. And as I said, it will be somewhere around here. However, I don't want to deal with the butt crack when I zero mesh it. It will be kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. But what I can do is I can turn transparency without ghost, and I can go for somewhere around here. I want it to be vertical though. Somewhere around here is actually a little bit lower. And even though I said I don't want to deal with the butt crack, probably I will have to. There you go. Yeah, we'll deal with this thing when it comes time. Don't worry about it. So now I'm going to get this one, isolate it, and mirror weld it, delete hidden, and mirror weld it. And as you can see, there is a little bit of discrepancy in the base mesh that I'm working from. And if you select it, right, and you go back to geometry, position, you'll see that it's perfectly centered. There is just 0.001, I guess, unsymmetrical details, but even with that, the symmetry will work fine. As you can see, we can work symmetrically, and even the Z modeler, I guess, will allow us to do symmetry with the Z modeler, so don't worry about that. Alright, so for the neck, if you want to create something like a V-line, a V-neck, or something like this, you can just mask it. Let me show you what you can do. You can mask this, right? And then you can group it. Then you can get this one and this one, for example. Come on, you can get isolated, hide it, auto group it, which is in the polygroups, I think. Yeah, all the groups. If you want to get my UI, go to my Gumroad. It should be in this corner here somewhere, and you can get it for free if you want to use this one. Otherwise, what I would recommend is just you select hotkeys, menus, or like me, put everything that you use all the time on your UI. Okay, so anyway, you get this, and then simply hide what you don't want, delete, and you can zero mesh from here. I don't want a v-neck though, so oh my god, there you go. So what I'll do is I'll slice her head off. I know how that sounds, but this is exactly what we'll do. And the idea is I want a little bit of a thing, of a like turtleneck like thing. So I'm going to go for something like this. It's way too much. See, yeah, this is good. I'm going to delete hidden. I didn't split it by mistake. No, I did not. Okay, and now I am going to inflate it by 1. Right, and as you can see, I already got rid of this thing here. So before we remesh it, before we zero mesh it, I'm going to go to my clay, and I'm going to fix a little bit of things where I think the remesher will struggle, like the aforementioned crack of butt. I don't know why I said like this, like that. We're gonna fix it later, don't worry. And I'm gonna fix the belly button like this. And here is where we sometimes have the most troubles with. Like if she has the best mesh is if it's a lady, she has like a cleavage issues that we have to address. So I'm just going to smooth the things I think are will cause issues, like this. That's still, and at this resolution, when I do the clay, it almost acts like a move tool, right? So this is a good thing. Okay, I am pretty happy with this. Let's do a little bit of clay here. There you go. Of clay here. There we go. So now I am going to zero mesh it. This time I'm going to zero mesh it with Symmetry. When we imported from Marvelous, we didn't do it with Symmetry, but now we'll have to do it with Symmetry. So the adaptive size of 10. If you're doing a hard surface, you can go with 0, like panels, stuff like this. We'll go with 0, but for now I'll go to a 10, and this right now is 14.3 thousand points. 100 points, whatever. So 1000, what am I talking about? So I'm gonna go for half of that, and let's zero mesh it, and let's check it. Let's turn off the line. There we go. Actually, let's go for half of that, and this time I'll go to 0 just to see the result. Nope, I want them to be 15, and we're gonna go for half. That's fine. It's fine by me. I'm gonna inflate it once again by 1. Okay, and now we are going to fix those issues here by just using the clay brush. Now if there is something like this here, chances are when you clay it like this, it will tear up from this side because the distance is too small. So use backface masking for this. It's on the brush, on the modifiers, where was it? Something masking. It was auto masking. There you go. There is backface masking, and there is mask by polygroups, which is another thing that's useful, but you know, we'll talk about it if the time comes to talk about it. So now I am going to go like this and fix where I want to be fixed, like that. Good. Now I am going to go to my move brush, and I am going to pull out her thing under from like this, right? Just so it's out of her body. There is this issue that we talked about. Let's see if we can resolve this. There you go. We kind of resolved it. Okay. And I'm using the clay brush more than the standard brush. Let's turn off backface. Because I don't know, it's just that oh my god, I fucked up this part now. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, actually, let's do this. There you go. And let's hide this one. Let's just mirror it and zero mesh it again. That not by half, the same resolution we want. Okay, there we go. We fixed a lot of the issues. We're going to use dynamics anyway, so we're going to fix that. Now, whoa. There we go. So one thing we have to do is get rid, because we extracted it, so as you can see how quickly it follows the back, which is not what we want. My phone is ringing, just a second guys. Alright, sorry about that. What I was saying, yeah, so this here, because we extracted it, I will go with the clay, and once again I use the clay, not the standard. You can use the standard brush as well for this, and I'm just going to give a little bit volume here and then smooth it like this, even more like here, right? So smooth it just to get a little bit more of a what it would actually look like. Okay, I can inflate it again by 1 and then just deal with this piece here. There will be a time for this later. I just want to cover the main shapes, right? This. So now let's get this thing here more realistically done. So first things first, I'm going to go for my select lasso, and I'm going to hover over this, get it out of the way, and delete hidden. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a dynamic for it. So there is your dynamic tab on here, and what we're going to do is we're going to, with the lasso tool, I'm going to select somewhere around here, right? Then I'm going to auto group it, and then get those two, group them and mask them, right? So then I'm going to invert the mask, and I'm going to tap once, and this will allow me to soften the mask a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a gravity of 1, and okay, let's talk about those a little bit quicker about the different things here. Now we're going to start from top to bottom. This simulation iterations is basically how, if you control hover and control on top of those, you can get whatever they do with the description. I'm going to talk to you about what I will use, and what I will use is I will use the firmness. Basically this is if you draw a comparison to Marvelous, what this does is it controls what type of cloth you want to simulate. So the firmness of 2 is more soft cloth. I will go firmness of 4, and we're going to go without inflate. I skipped ahead. Okay, so then we have unmasked and unbrushed. We want unmasked. So this is, if it's unmasked, it will simulate the masked points, and make sure you get it right. The masked points will be simulated. It's at the beginning it was a little bit of counterintuitive for me. I thought that it will simulate the points that are not masked, but it actually does the masked points. On brush is wherever your brush is. The shrink and expand, let's try. Let's hit collision volume. We got this one. We are going to show everything. The key here is to have everything that you want to simulate on selected, visible. So we are going to do recalc. It will recalculate everything. And now when we hit run simulation, it will do this thing, right? Now if, let's go back, if I go allow expand, it will expand all the way like to here. Why not, right? So we do not want that. If we go to shrink and go shrink, it will shrink, which is good, but not for what we want. We want to have both of them disabled, and the gravity strength is pretty much, if you go ridiculous, boom, you got something like this. If you go very small, like 0.01, you will not see any difference. 1 is fine. I'm going to go 0.5 for now. For those here, the liquify, it just does a little bit of a different gravity. You can try it and you can set the direction of the gravity. The inflate, deflate, expand and contract is basically, if I go to inflate and run it, it will inflate it like this, right? If I go to deflate, it will kind of deflate it. The expand is, it will go like that, and the contract obviously will contract, right? This is useful and we can use this later, but for now it's not something that we want to do. So I'm going to disable those, and also you can toggle the axis for each of these options and the amount, but I'm going to do it like this. And we are going to, let's recalc it again, and let's run the simulation. And the inflate, if I go for, let's go back, that's the final thing I want to show you, I swear. If I go for like 2 of inflate and run simulation, it will inflate everything and it will pretty much destroy it. It's good when you want to create some padding and stuff like this, but for what we need, we want to have simulation of 0, run the simulation. And what this will do, it will create a much more natural flow, right? So once we have this, we're going to unmask it, and I am going to go with the move and just slightly fix what I don't like. Once again, we are in ZBrush. We have the power to fix everything we do not like, so I can just come here and do it like this. That's fine by me. We can actually let's do this. Okay, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. Okay, we got this done. It's, well, it's a little bit too much. Yeah, way too much. Actually, I didn't think it will look this way, but cool. In a little bit, there we go. So now I will zero mesh one last time. With the same resolution, everything is the same. I'm gonna go for smaller adaptive size though. You know what? That's what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a target poly count of 3. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so we have this, and let's very quickly run again with the clay brush, fix what we want. The hands we do not have to fix now, but you can go and do it while you're on cleanup duty. This a little bit here. Whoa. Okay. With the standard brush, what you can do is you can go for a very small brush size, and you can hold Alt, and this will allow you to create this little bit of a tighter turtleneck vibe here. Okay, and then just use the clay to build it up again if you have to. Okay, so once we have this, here comes the doozy part of it. Just a second. Yep, we're recording. I forgot that we are to turn off the recording, and I basically got to this point once before already today, and I didn't record it. So I started from zero. Okay, so now I want this piece here. Let me show you. So I want to have something like, let's turn off symmetry, something like this, and this, and this, right, and this, and all the way down here. I want this kind of double-breasted jacket type look. Now, if we were at Marvelous, we would be able, it would have been able to get this very quickly. However, we are not here, so you know, we'll have to work on a different way, work around it. And the way in ZBrush, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's completely fine to do it. So what I'll do is I will actually duplicate this, and right off the bat I'm going to, and this is why we zero meshed it with Symmetry, because now I can go for my select rectangle and I can get rid of half of the mesh, right, this half, and I am going to delete it. And then once I have this, let me show you, right, once I have this side on the mesh, I'm going to go to 1, and you may want to slice it if you want. I want more of a rectangular look anyway, so I can use this for this purpose. So I can go with my Z modeler, and we're relatively low on geometry, actually very low on geometry in terms of ZBrush standards, and I am going to turn off symmetry again, and with any function on the polygon mode, let's go for polygroup, since we'll be using this anyway. Doesn't matter what, I'm just gonna hold Alt, and I'm gonna draw to where my kind of color wanna be. Let's do here, and I'll do it like this. That's fine, like that. And I don't care if I go in here, as long as I don't go in here. So that is fine, and I'll follow this here all the way to the bottom, like that. Okay, and follow it here. Okay, cool. So now we have this one. What we can do is we can hover over any of the mask points. This I did, by the way, by holding Alt while in any of the ZBrush mode. I think I explained it, but we can polygroup it, and once we click it, we get a different polygroup from where we had it masked, right? As you can see, there are a lot of uneven parts, but that doesn't matter, because what we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of the polygroup we created, the stitch. We're going to go here, and we're going to hide once again hide the half of it, and make it a polygroup of its own. So now, as you can probably guess, we're going to get this one. Okay, first of all, we're gonna get this half, and we're gonna auto group it, and because we cut it, it's now completely separate polygroup. Let's get a color that's indistinguishable, right? So now we got this group here, and this group, and this group. We're gonna group it, and we're gonna isolate it, and we don't need this one, and we're gonna delete it. Boom. So now we have those two, and those are two separate subtools. So what I want to do is I want to move this piece here on top of this one. It is easy to do, just use the move tool, right? However, if you use it and you're not careful, you get the risk of doing this, and we don't want this because at the end we want to weld those two parts after we merge them. So what I'll do is I will select it like, well, that's too much. I'll select like this, okay, and then I will come here and just use my move tool, and I'm gonna hold Alt and very slightly move this whole thing a little bit out, right? And that's just a little bit for now. We can always do it more later, but for now we're gonna do it like this. This is enough. Let's turn on double and check out. Yeah, that's more than enough. And by the way, the double option is in the display properties, I think. Yeah, double. That's where the flip is, which I also have here. Alright, so once we have this, this is the point where we get those two, right? And we merge down. It will ask us. Alright, so now we have this. If you select auto group, you will see that we have to move it a little bit more. For this one, I will mask it again. I don't know why I didn't see this. And I'm going to enable the topological brush because now it's one subtool, right? And I'm going to move just this. With the topological, it will allow me to move just a piece of topology, which is what those two groups are. And now I am going to just a second, guys, my phone is killing today. Alright, sorry about that. Today my phone is pretty busy. So once we have done this, we can now weld, because those are two, as we spoke in just a few seconds ago, those are two different geometry pieces. And to weld them, we will just go to geometry, modify topology, weld points. And now if I press auto group, it's one solid piece, which is what we wanted. So now, once we have this, is the moment that we start thinking about panels. And the reason why we don't do anything before we cut this into various panels is because if we take this piece out of the equation, right, everything else is symmetrical. So our Z modeler brush, for example, if we go here and we want to go to Q mesh, single poly, if we Q mesh, we still have symmetry on it. So the reason I'm telling you this is because now we're going to cut her kind of sleeves. I want them to be separate, and we're going to do this like here, for example. Let's see how we want to do it. I want to go from here, yeah, that's good, this, and I'm holding Alt and just clicking on those, and if you click against on a mask point, it will unmask it. So let's see. How does this look? Not bad. We can probably give it something like this here to have a little bit more interesting shape. Let's see if we can go one deeper. And the idea what you have to look for is here, right? If you can go here deeper on this side, especially for this design, I mean, you can go deeper here, you can go deeper anywhere. Well, relatively speaking. Okay, cool. So I want to go one up. This, I think that's cool. Okay, so now we're gonna tap it. Whoa, once, tap it. What is it doing? Oh, it's Q mesh. Okay, sorry, my bad. So you wanna go to polygroup O, or single mesh, doesn't matter, and create your group. And now I'm going to isolate this, hide it, have this one, and I'm going to auto group it. Get this one, and this one, auto group them, and split them. So now I have those two separately. As for here, those are, well, let's see, are those? Yeah. There we go. I just on this Subtool, the one that we split, we have this, which is a cool idea actually, but it's not done properly. So I'm gonna delete this one. Go save it, quick save. And now we are going to do just the same thing. Split it, and I always split the hidden, so I keep my history on the bigger piece, right? The idea is that whatever you split off, the Subtool doesn't have history on it. So now we have the hands, and from this part, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to get this piece here. It's a little bit too much curve on it, has too much curve on it, but we'll see how it goes. This, yeah, we can go for like one more. Can we? And one more on this side. Yeah, so we're going to go here like that. Cool. We have them on both sides. We're gonna give it a group. We're gonna select them, hide them, and split them. So those are the three main not groups, but you know, pieces that I want to create. So the front piece with the bottom piece and the sleeves. So now, as for the sleeves, because they're still symmetrical, we can work and mirror and weld them on just one. So what I'm going to do is, if you do the thing that you do with the Z modeler, with the masking, grouping, and splitting, it's fine, but you cannot really only do it as much as the topology allows you to, right? So I'm going for this, I'm going to use my slice tool, once again the slice curve. However, as we discussed earlier, the slice tool doesn't have symmetry on it, but doesn't matter because they're still symmetrical, so we can mirror and weld it. And that being said, I'm going to get the rectangle, turn off symmetry, isolate a little piece of it, Control-Shift-A will expand until it covers the whole piece of geometry, and this piece here we're going to delete. And there we go. So now once we have this created, we are just going to mirror it, and I'm going to show you later in the episode how you mirror something that is simple versus something that is with that has subdivisions and stuff like this. And basically it is the Z plugin, Subtool Master. You use this mirror here, but this is when we come to this, I will show it to you. So now I can start creating pieces with my slice curve, and I want her to have some kind of a padding here. So yeah, why not? However, a little bit softer transition I envision for this, so I'm going to something like that. That's fine. However, let's go to select lasso. I want it to have a little bit of a shoulder pad, and to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna get this edge and this edge, and obviously this edge and this edge. Isolate only them and mask them, right? And now Let me see if ZBrush will allow me to do this. If I hover over with the Z modeler on an edge, this one I think, there is something, yeah, there is a slide. Was it slide? Yeah, it was slide. So now if I slide, I want it to slide, man. There you go. And I'll go edge loop complete. So if you slide now, you slide against this direction, right? Let's yeah, you slide along the normal, right, from one point to the other. If you hold shift, however, you can go and do this, which I think is cool. We're going to use this and use this a little bit and this a little bit with this, okay? And wow, that did not work the way I wanted it. You know what, fuck this, we can do it later. So let's do the slice. I'm just going to do it with my BDS, which is the damn standard, and it's such a low geometry. If I hold out, I kind of basically get this to pop up a little bit, right? And then just smooth it a little, and we get what we wanted. So yeah, that's much better, I think. Okay, cool. So once we have this, we can go for the slice curve, and we can create what we wanted, which was something like this, right? Nope. Okay, I can work with that. I want it a little bit deeper though. Yeah, that's going to be it. So once we have this, we're going to zero mesh it, and we're going to pop up in the settings of the zero mesher because we're going to use a few things. Now let's try a little options and see what works best for us, because it's obviously it's piece by piece dependent. So if I go to freeze border and I zero mesh it right off the bat, you will see that it doesn't destroy the border. And I'm gonna go to keep the same resolution and no adaptive size. Let's see how that works. I'm going to keep the groups and turn them to 0 and freeze groups as well. No, freeze borders. What this does is it will keep this as a separate group, but create, like, it will try to create an edge loop along the group. So there you go. As you can see, it kind of works. So detect edges. If we smooth Alright guys, so funny how things work sometimes. Now there is an option in the zero mesher called legacy zero mesh, which is the old zero mesher, and it worked for me. Like, this is what I wanted to get this whole time, right? A mesh that has the same topology, and I did it with the legacy one. Before that I just couldn't. Let me show you. If I do the same thing and I zero mesh it, see this whole thing here? If I do the legacy zero mesh, it just does it much more cleanly. Anyway, we have this. So that was a little bit of a tangent, sorry, but yeah, sometimes happens. I was actually ready to split it off and do it like this. However, I don't need this now. There you go. So now what we can do is we can start working on here. Now I want to have padding here because she'll be wearing, as I said in the first video, she will have some kind of a hard surface details on her, and she'll be wearing some piece here, some computer on her wrist or whatever. And to do this, I'm going to use the previous method we did with the Zim modeler, and the reason for it is, oh my god, it's, there we go, geometry. Okay, the reason I'm going to do this is because I want to be what was the word for it, rectangular anyway. So I'm just going to do this, and I don't care about this geometry because we're going to split this and zero mesh it and fix it, but I just want to get the shape correctly. And this is what this first video and the first video and this one will be about, just getting the shapes you need, right? I think that's fine. I can actually go one more here, and obviously one more here. Okay, we still have time. We have about 15 minutes left, so we are going to get this, and we are going to actually let's not QMesh, but let's polygroup single edge loop. There you go. I'm gonna get this one, invert it, get this one and auto group it. There you go. Now we're gonna get this one and this one, make it a group. There we go. I can even at this point I can still fix those mistakes here by just moving my mesh because nothing is split anymore, like that. All right, now for the elbow piece, what you can do is you can just do the same thing, right? So if you want to have an elbow piece, you can go here and just create something like this and split it. However, this thing is very potent, it's very useful for me, but it only works when you want to deal with a piece of geometry that follows an already established polyflow. So what I can do is I can get this, after I split those and create, I can just go and slice it with a circle, so something like this. We're gonna put it in the right direction. Like this, right? And then get those, auto group them, get this one and this one, group it, zero mesh it again like this one, and we have it. However, I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to do this later after I'm done with the rest. So now I just want to have this one a little bit more. Okay, now we have the main shapes. I'm looking for a color that I think I would like, because as I said, once you get those shapes, right, you can introduce colors for them, for the simple reason of being able to see them. So what I'll do right now is, if I have, okay, let's test this. A quick save before you test, because sometimes ZBrush will be ZBrush. So I can mirror weld it and start working like this. If I have multiple subdivisions, so let's crease PG, right? And we subdivide it. Now this one has 4 subdivisions. If I mirror weld it, it will say with multiple subdivisions. So the way to do it is to use the Subtool Master. In the Subtool Master, if you go and mirror it, it will just ask you a couple of things. One, do you want it in the same subtool? You would probably do not want that for this particular piece, but you can merge in one subtool or append as new subtool along the X. Let's hit OK. It will take a little bit, but now this is this piece and this is that piece, and it still has subdivisions, which I think is ridiculously good. So for this one, let's go back to where it doesn't. Okay, and let's start splitting, right? So we're going to get this one and we're gonna split hidden. There we go. And I'm going to come here on this part. Don't even know, I'm not allowed to. I guess this one, okay. And I'm going to get this one, split hidden. There are multiple ways of splitting. You can split this, you can split masked points, you can split by parts, similar parts. There's like group split, insane amount of splitting and merging when ZBrush is involved, but this is enough for us. Let's try to zero mesh this. We're gonna use borders. We don't want to keep groups, we want the same. Let's see. It's interesting. It fucking worked like a peach. We can keep it for now. So this one, we want to mirror it. This one, we want to mirror it. Oh. Control Shift A, delete hidden. And this one we want to mirror it. Okay, so now let's introduce colors. So switch color. I'm gonna go for standard brush, MRGB. We're gonna go for fill object. No, that's actually, we want this to be this object and this to be this object to be this color, and then we're gonna go for white. We'll put it here, fill object, get out, and we can now start seeing our piece coming together, right? And that was very important. So now I can move forward knowing what I have to do. So a quick word before we go, a quick word on how do we create, how we move forward from here. We're going to have the next video probably working on her boots, because shoes and footwear a little bit different than animal than clothing. And then after that we're going to have a couple of time-lapse videos of me banging up the details. So basically, because a character is a lot of work, let me mask by, there you go. Character is a lot of work, and I don't want to sit here and just do nothing for an excess amount of time. So what we'll do is we're going to move in this fashion. I'm going to show you how I do one thing and then just time lapse the bunch of repetitive stuff I do. So for example, if we want tubing, let's see how we'll do tubing. Let's see. So for tubing, you can frame mesh. There was something called frame mesh, which was here in the stroke. So you go curve functions, frame mesh. You can frame this, right? And I'm not going to work on symmetry, but you can frame this. Go to your strap snap or whatever it's called. Strap. Okay, let's do it with strap snap and see how it goes. And then just click it, and boom, you have it. And then you can just go to stroke, delete the stroke. And I think that's incredible, actually. It actually worked much better than I anticipated. So now, Control Shift A. There you go. we're gonna split hidden. Didn't I split it? Okay, I did not. So split hidden. There we go. I'm gonna get this one. And now what we can do is we can grab this, go to QMesh, single, actually let's go group by normals. This will group every normal depending on the degree. It was somewhere here. And I'm going to hold shift, whoops, this time with polygroup all selected, hold shift a little bit, this, that's fine. And then just for example I can do like this, select those and those and those, why not? And I can cue them in, and we can start creating those details that I told you about, right? Like stitching and all kind of stuff. So we'll do this in the next video. Actually, I'm gonna keep this like that. So let's save. Let's call it 02 because that's the end of the second video. And once we're done, I think I'll have all the files for you guys on a directory somewhere in Gumroad or whatever for free. But for now, we're going to put a pin here. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the video and comment on it if you have any questions. I am always happy to answer them. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.